Greetings! My Foundry is dead. Let's make it better. So as you can see, the thing is all crumbly now. I made a video yesterday where I did some more copper. Finally started to figure this stuff out, but it didn't handle the heat. I used it 4 times. 4 times and it crumbled apart. Probably because it's made out of plaster and playground sand. If you remember, I said I made this using the King of Randoms build. And the lid is pretty gross looking. I had to hold it together with some of these clamps. The body itself, though, this is pretty bad as well. It's all like crumbly and like layers of it are coming off, you know, and it's just got big cracks all the way to the edge of the bucket. And that's not going to work so much anymore, sadly. But instead of using the guy who came up with this, his improvements, which were basically to reinforce this with steel wool, which will work. It'll help it stay together. It'll prevent these big cracks from tearing the thing apart quite so quickly. I'm going to actually use better material. Because the thing about playground sand and plaster of Paris, when they came up with those, they didn't for a second think you were going to use them in a foundry. So they don't work so good for that. They work in a pinch if you're doing aluminum, which is kind of cold comparatively to copper, but it's still just not optimum. And here's what I'm going to use to fix it. Step 1, remove all the plaster. I'm doing this because I want to get these U-bolts out of there, and maybe the clamps too, I don't know. There's one. Perfect. I'm going to reuse these. Plaster. Don't inhale that. What's harder? And now the bucket. Okay, bucket, U-bolts. The bucket survived pretty good. I mean, it got quite a bit dinged up there from my hammer use. But these, check these out. The top of the bolts are pretty good, but the bottom of the lid started to corrode away pretty quickly, and these got all rusty looking. I cannot move these bolts anymore. Oh, no, never mind. I can move that one. And that one. Okay, I lied. I can just not move this one. Probably because I'm too weak, but it looks pretty rusty. Now for the new lining, I'm using this stuff. Castable refractory cement. I got it at my local hardware store, Menards, where I got all the same junk that I used to make the first one. And it was a little bit more expensive than more plaster and sand, but not that much. And you'll see specifically castable refractory cement. There's some stuff called refractory cement. That's like mortar for bricks, but this is like you can cast this. Unfortunately, it's still not very good. Copper needs like over 2,000 degrees. The real stuff's good for 3,000 and it's a better insulator, but I don't have the real stuff right now and my Foundry died right now. So until I get the real stuff to build a good one, which I am doing, I'm just going to use this crap that I got and maybe just stick to aluminum from now on. Hopefully this will last a little longer. Now this stuff says clean all dirt. No, it's still probably going to be pretty dirty. Wear rubber gloves, check. Eye protection, check. Dry mix the contents for 1 minute before adding water. 1.5 to 2 pints per half of this bucket. Mix for a few minutes. Install immediately. All right. Sounds easy enough. Allow to cure for a few days before trying it. I'm not going to be able to try it for a week. Let's find out what's inside. Yep, looks like cement. Perfect. Okay, game plan. First time, I use this to make the lid. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mix all of that in this big bucket. I used to use this. I put this inside the metal bucket like so to make the form of the inside. This isn't big enough. I want it to be a little deeper, want it to be a little wider. Maybe I'll be able to get more fuel in there. And the only pot I have that fits that bill is this one. Slight problem, it's occupied. This is a Carolina Reaper pepper plant, the last surviving pepper plant from my garden. And I'm trying to save it over the winter, which is kind of hard. It's looking a bit raggedy, so it's kind of struggling. And I don't really have like a good growing setup. Part's falling off, but we're going to try to use this and hopefully the thing doesn't die from refractory cement. But they're tough, right? Anyway, the plan is stick it in there, in the other bucket. But before I start mixing, let's just test. Does that look? Oh, that looks perfection. That is perfection itself. And then, whatever's left in here, I'm going to use this, which is a cap, 3-inch vent cap that I bought at Menards again, to put in the middle. It was in the middle, trust me. Of what was in the bottom there to dry, and then that will be the vent hole in the top. Then I'm going to use this, slide it in. I might use this, I might try to use this anyway, to cast the hole in the cement. Wow, that's loud. Failing that, I'm going to take this and make myself a little tube. Okay, I cut out aluminum sheet instead. It was easier to cut. Also, I can throw the scrap on my melt pile, which is pretty cool. I'm going to take this thin aluminum sheet, this wood mallet, which I swear one day I will finish making, and wrap it around the handle, like so. There, roughly a cylinder-ish shape. This aluminum sheet I also got at Menards. So all of this, if you have a Menards by you, it's available right on the shelf. Put it in at sort of an angle and eyeball how I want to cut this. So I want to cut this at an angle like this, because this isn't going in straight, it's going in at an angle, but I want it to butt up against the pot kind of smoothly so cement doesn't go into it. Alright, guesstimate the angle. Now, this is all kind of slapdash, but I'm constantly pressed for time. And I kind of want to get this done in one go. Where are my snips? Always with the losing stuff. Here they are. I put them away where they belong. Imagine that. Oh, that cuts so much nicer than steel. Oh, yeah. Alright, now wrap her back up. There we go. Cut at an angle. Now I'm going to tape this up. In no way does that look good, but like I said, press for time here. Now to make sure I have enough room to put this tube, I will wrap it around the tube. And that is how I will tape it. Alright, bingo. And test fit that. Oh man, is it hard to see with a potted plant in your face. It's a bit tight in this jaggedy hole. Yes, I think that'll work. Cool. And what I've done is gone and opened this a little bit. And I'm going to take this and tape it in place. Now I'm going to start filling it with the mix. And when I get to the right point, I'll put the potted plant in there and fill in around the edges. And it should work. Okay, so what I've gone and done, taking the aluminum piece that I cut it at an angle like that, taped it up in a tube, taped it in place in roughly the right spot with the potted plant mocked in it, and now I'm going to mix up the stuff. Okay, now to mix this. Okay, now to dry mix this, I'm going to use a hardwood dowel. This is actually poplar, so it's kind of like, belongs on the short bus of hardwoods, but it should work for this. Alright, now I just need 4 quarts of water. Okay, recipe calls for 3 to 4 quarts of water. This is 1.8, so 2 of these will be right on the money. But as soon as they start pouring, the clock's going to start ticking. So I gotta be quick. Dump, 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 glub, glub, glub. Next. There we go, second bucket. dump in. Now it's supposed to mix for a few minutes and then get to pouring. So, time to mix. Might need a bigger stick. This is actually working surprisingly well. Way to go, Poplar. On the ground, more leverage. It's like cold in here and I'm sweating. Probably because this is about the dumbest way to mix concrete in the world. Now this is pretty liquidy. Did I get that right? Yeah, right on the money. Come to think of it, I never waterproofed the potted plant. This is not going to be fun. There we go, tape to the rescue. Never thought waterproofing a potted plant would be a step in making a foundry, but you work with what you have. Okay, time to pour for real this time. Alright, that's more concrete-y looking. Still pretty watery though. Alright, now if it stays there until it cures, we'll be in business. Goodbye, plant. This is likely the end of you. Really should have gotten my stuff ready to hold this thing down. There we go. Good. Add some more big heavy things. Yeah. So I'm sure you've realized already, but if you came to this channel looking for someone who knows what they're doing, this is not it. Also, I'm not sure I have enough left for a lid, but I'll use this liquidy stuff. Maybe this will work. Now, in what is likely a vain attempt to thicken this up, I'm going to add some more sand. There, about 4 handfuls ought to do it. Mix that into a suspension. Just realized the camera wasn't pointed in the right direction. Remember what I said about not knowing what I'm doing? So, as per directed, gonna stick this in the center. Hopefully that'll give me a hole. There, I'll bring the bucket to you. I put that thing in the bottom there, you see it? And then I added a weight to keep it down. Now, these, remember these? Gonna stick these in. Ooh, that's very liquidy. I'm really not confident about this lid. But they stay in place. Huh. Guess it's not as liquidy as I thought. Now the plan is, wait for all of it to dry. It says wait 48 hours before firing it up. I'm not going to use it for a week. I am going to keep this though, this ring of clamps, because when I take the lid out of there, assuming it worked, it doesn't look like it's doing so hot, I'm going to put this around right at the beginning. I'm not going to wait for cracks to form. And we'll see how it goes. This didn't go as smoothly as I thought it was going to, but I've never mixed concrete in a bucket with a stick before in the winter, so who knows? And here it is! Check this out. Cool, huh? I preserved my hole. I'm a little bit nervous that this isn't thick enough. See, it's maybe 1.5 inches thick. A little bit thicker on the bottom. But I'm hoping that the fact that it's better material makes up for that. Also, I think I'm only going to do aluminum in this one. Kind of going to give up doing the copper in a small bucket until I build the bigger foundry. And I got some books called Building a Metal Shop from Scratch, I think. From scrap. Yeah, Build Your Own Metal Shop from Scrap, something like that. By David Gingery, I think it's pronounced. It sounds a little weird. I think it's gingery. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, I'm going to build that one in that book, if you want to get that book. Or not. Whatever. Until then, this will melt aluminum. You can do aluminum in like a campfire with a hairdryer sticking into it. And you don't need a lot for aluminum, so this should work. I also extracted the lid, which that took some doing. But I can't get this out. It's kind of stuck. Tried like pulling on it back and forth. But I do have an idea. My idea is stay hydrated, I guess. Let's try not to spill all over myself and my microphone and my tweed jacket. So on top of waterproofing a potted plant, I did not expect chugging a Mountain Dew to be one of the necessary official steps of this build. But Sometimes you can't plan for everything. There, done. Okay, with that accomplished, I really need to rebuild this plane at some point. It was given to me and I was working on flattening the sole. Anyway, that's for later. Let's crush the can. Come on. I'm also slightly concerned that this concrete mix is not correct because, as you might have seen when I poured, I didn't get all the stuff mixed in. Oh, that's not going to be fun to extract the rest of that. I didn't get the concrete very well mixed, and I think this is more mortar. I did add a lot of sand in there, but who knows if this lid is going to stay very permanent. There we go. Oh, Mountain Dew everywhere. I didn't finish it. Look at that. There's still a little left in there. Alright, caffeine power. There's what we got in the bottom. Some mortar had leaked through, but I'll probably just chip away at that. And then, I don't know what I'm going to do. Drill through the bottom? I don't mind leaving this metal ring. Huh. I'll have to figure that one out. Yeah, that's pretty much most of it out of there. Now, how am I going to get a hole through that? Right into the bench top. Yep, that put a hole in my bench top. This is designed with a sacrificial bench top. I can take it out, put a new one on. It's just a 2x4 foot sheet of plywood from the hardware store. So cheap and easy to replace if need be. Now I'm going to drill a series of holes around the outside. Did I wreck my drill bit already? Yeah, that looks pretty screwed. Huh. That was fast. Man, this really ruins bits. Like, ruins them. Also, if I'm honest, I've never purchased more drill bits, so it's probably time to buy some more. Here, if at first you don't succeed, get a bigger one. There we go. Hearing protection. Apparently that is made out of adamantium. Alright, so I'm doing it the hard way because it's ruining all my drill bits. And I'm just kind of prying the crap out of it to get it out of there, which is a bit stressful and painful. However, my beautiful wife brought me some hot cocoa, which, you know, makes everything better. She is amazing. And this tastes great, too. Especially because it's really cold in here. It's like winter and snowing outside. Aha, I think I've reached critical mass where it's pushing out the bottom. Okay, so here we go. Aha! Hole! Success! Kind of screwed the bottom out a little bit, but this thing's really thick. It doesn't matter. It's fine. And now the test fit. Here's the Foundry. Here's the lid. And dun, 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 fits perfect. Awesome. Oh, that doesn't work anymore. Huh. Oh, well, I'm not going to carry it with the lid on it anyway. That would just be ridiculous. I guess it does work. So there you have it. It's done. I got hot cocoa, and it's going to need to cure for many, many days before I can fire it again. But it's like, what day is it? Wednesday? It's Wednesday. I'm probably not going to have time to use it till Sunday. So that's many days of curing time. The box bucket thing said give it like 2 days at 50 degrees. So I'm going to put it in my basement, which is like 70 degrees, and give it 4 or 5 days. So that should be enough. And then I'll heat it up slowly, maybe at first. Who knows? But thank you for watching. I hope this works. Stay tuned to see if it explodes the first time I try it. I'm not all that confident, given how poorly I mix the concrete, but it's always an experience. Yeah? probably put 911 on speed dial.